Welcome back to another episode of Say Less. I'm Jay Stan, one half of the dynamic duo, better known as In Retrospect Podcast. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Usually we would look beyond the surface to find understanding, but in this case, we're going to look at it for what it is. There's a lot of interesting things that are going on within the world. So before we get started, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. I appreciate you guys tuning in. So let's get into it. So most recently, everybody has seen that Drake is showing his support for Tory Lanez. I know this is a touchy subject for most. A lot of folks believe that Tory is innocent. A lot of folks will say that Tory is guilty. In a court of law, he was found guilty. So therefore, you can take it from there and believe what you want to believe. In my honest opinion, it seems like they had enough evidence to say that he did it. So I believe he did it. It's unfortunate, but a lot of folks may take this as, oh, Drake saying, he didn't do what he did, and that's fine. But as far as I look at it, it's just Drake supporting a friend, saying free him, even though he may be guilty. That's neither it's been proven in the court of law that he was found guilty. So, I mean, that is left up to a lot of people's own opinions, what they feel about the whole situation. I'm not going to get into that between Tory and Megan, but Drake is once again showing his support for his friend Tory. A lot of folks are feeling somewhat biased about the whole situation in regards to Drake showing open support like this. But ever since he was found guilty of charges, Drake has been supporting his friend. So we all have friends out there that we do support, whether they do good or bad. It's good that he is supporting his friend. Moving along to this, and we talk about supporting friends. Let's talk about how Cam Newton was supporting his community this past weekend. Cam, in other words, ended up in a scuffle. This 6'5" man, 270 pounds, got into a fight with a group of folks that jumped into action at his own 7-on-7 camp, which is unreal to me because you're trying to do stuff for the community and the community shows its ass, which is really unfortunate because he always does these camps. And it's amazing because the theme that is across the board when you do read about how these camps are going, of course, kids are getting exposure, but the disrespect that this man is receiving for putting on these community events to get kids exposure is unreal. I feel like a lot of parents, they want their kids to make it more than the kids want to make it. And I just feel like, it goes back to the whole let that child find their passion and move forward with what they want to do instead of the parents at times, most times in these cases nowadays, pushing their beliefs onto the child to get it done. Now, Cam, unfortunately, he had that fedora hat on and then folks tried to come at him, which is wild because it's like, come on now, this is his camp. He's putting it on for y'all. He don't got to do this. So it's unfortunate they came at him. He didn't swing no punches. I didn't want to show it because, I don't really condone violence because that was just unreal. I mean, come on, Cam's giving back to the community. It shouldn't be all this and, what is going on. But, I mean, come on, man. It's Cam, which is crazy. And he did this in Atlanta, Georgia, where it took place at the 7-on-7 camp. I'll reiterate, it's just unfortunate when you see someone that's trying to give back to the community and then the community just reacts a certain way. But I'm still trying to figure out myself, what would incite you or make you want to fight Cam Newton in the first place? I heard of talking trash back and forth, competitive banter, yeah. But what would make you want to fight said person at their event? That makes zero sense to me. None. Oh man, I mean, what is the world coming to? Hopefully we can move in a better direction with these matters. With everyone getting more exposure so we can get our kids to the next level. And in every ethnicity, everybody should be trying to get to the next level. And thank folks like Cam for putting on camps to get exposure because they don't have to do this. Now, it is Black History Month, so I did want to touch on this a little bit. I wanted to touch on this social experiment that was taking place in Charlotte. So there's a Charlotte teacher that is under fire for decorating her door to represent segregation in honor of Black History Month. According to the news in the Charlotte area, a teacher at West Charlotte High in Charlotte, North Carolina, decided to decorate her door to represent a Sears store from the 1930s. That was segregated to give the students a real life example of how times were during the Jim Crow era. The teacher who is Black immediately received backlash from seemingly tone deaf decorations. Though it can be perceived as something negative without context, the teacher's daughter, LaQuinta Caldwell, says we should view it as an educational moment. Her only thing was making sure that the kids knew or could see a visual of how things were back in the day, Caldwell said. The purpose of the door was to show that Sears, which is a department store, was one of the first stores that allowed Blacks to shop with white people, Caldwell explained. Though it was created for educational purpose, the teacher was forced to take it down by the school's leadership. So, thoughts? Now, I'm going to give my opinion, but I would also love to hear everybody else's opinion on everything that I've discussed so far. As far as this matter, please drop your thoughts down in the comments. In regards to this matter, I don't see anything wrong with a social experiment taking place. I feel at times that a lot of folks don't realize how far society has come and still is trying to make some improvements in society. In no ways is it perfect. I will say that. But the strides that have taken place so far, I don't believe people realize how many strides have taken place. Like right now, for this example, as you can see, the social experiment saying colors and whites. Yes, that was a real thing for the people that are out there. It was not long ago. A lot of folks make it seem like it was so long ago. No, people's great grandparents and sometimes some folks' grandparents experienced this, which is crazy to think that Blacks and whites couldn't shop in the same area, let alone use the bathroom or use the same water fountain at the same time. It really just puts everything in perspective. Me personally, I don't see any issue with it, but of course you're going to have people saying don't promote something that isn't what it is now. That was the past. In order for you to build a better future, I believe you need to know the past. And me personally, history always repeats itself. So folks should always learn from past societies or social norms that took place in order for you to build better social norms moving forward. She received backlash. I guess everybody's trying to remain neutral in the matter. However, I don't think she did anything wrong, but bring education to the kids at the school. And honestly, she did it at high school. There was another social experiment that took place where I believe a teacher did it with elementary kids, and elementary kids learned a lot. So I can only imagine with kids in high school what was learned and what was not learned. I feel as if though everybody should conduct a social experiment of sorts at some point or another in every school everywhere in order for you to build a better understanding of the past and such matters like this. It is Black History Month. So it wasn't out of context. It was just to bring, awareness to, like I mentioned earlier, how far we've come. And some folks may have taken it the wrong way. I don't see how. The teacher was Black. So obviously she was just trying to make sure that everyone had a full understanding of how far things have come. Because if that's the case, there was probably a point where there was a point in history where she could not teach in the classroom. But now she's teaching. And I think that's just the whole reason for this whole experiment in the first place, just to show how far we've come and also remind everybody that it was not too long ago, but also to learn from your mistakes and keep pushing forward. There's nothing wrong with the social experiment. And again, even though she was using Sears as an example, she did highlight that they were the first store to let Blacks and whites shop together. History lesson, as well as engaging kids, as well as showing why are we using separate doors, what's the purpose, and just enlightening everyone involved with the situation. I appreciate you guys, tuning in for another episode of Say Less. I've been your host, Jay Stan. Always remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and catch me every other Tuesday.